Hey guys, it's been about an hour since I ripped poly from my head. The first one, with the plastic sticking back over here that I had to snip off, left these gaping holes in the top. The accidental pinching at the front, the lip there, required me to snip off some of that. You never saw all that because I deleted that. I was going crazy, the difficulties. Then came this one, the poly that was running sideways across my forehead. Absolutely unacceptable. The first one, at least, ran that way, but it looked like a grid. This placement of the plastic on the front hairline was always at risk of shining brightly into the faces of anybody who looked at me in sunlight or even standard indoor lighting. Who knows what would happen if there was a part of some kind, how shiny it would get, and how much glue would shine through. So I'm going back to lace. This is the hairpiece I wore for about 3 days. I ripped all the glue off it, left it frayed. It's only French lace, and it is medium density. Not Swiss lace and not medium light density. Medium density has come in handy for me with lace because I needed to conceal the shine of the glue that I was using. This one. But in my most recent experiment with the poly, I used next gen water-based glue. And with the help of this stuff, no sweat, which never worked for me in the past because I must have applied it on a hot summer's day when my head was already emitting beads of sweat. It worked. This plus this actually held that tight. Now there's a huge difference between poly and lace. If we look at the percentage of surface area that will be touching the glue, I can look at the holes here through the sunlight and I can see most of it is empty. Therefore the plastic of the lace, I assume it's plastic, would probably constitute about 30% of total contact. And so, even though this glue worked with the poly, it has never worked with this. And I said to one of my commenters that the reason I used this was because it made sense that it was so thick, coming up about 0.3 of a millimeter, which is about the thickness of the lace, so that these hexagonal holes would allow the glue to press up in through the gaps and give it some anchoring. So not only was the lace sitting merely on a thin layer of glue that could easily be ripped off, there were also bits of glue going up into every single hole when it was pressed down, meaning that it was sitting on the lace on the parts that were lines, and it was hooked into the lace in the parts where the glue filled the holes, giving it double adhesion in that way, which would be more surface area, in fact, than a flat piece of poly. So in that way, lace could potentially have, say, 150% of the surface grip of poly, potentially. I haven't done the calculations, but it's more than poly. But the problem with this has been the instructions that come with it. There were some. It said to apply a thin layer about 4 times and wait for each layer to dry until it goes clear. Now it goes clear after about 20 seconds, But 4 layers still only gets it up to about 1.5 tenths of a millimeter, it seems. So I'm thinking now I'll apply a bit more than usual in thicker layers. And I probably should have been a little bit more careful than what I just did, because it's not like I can just cover my entire forehead with this stuff and then just wash away easily. It is glue after all, but it will wash away more easily than Walker Tape Ultra Hold. So right now I'm applying a thick, milky, non-rubbed in surface layer over the No Sweat, which I imagine blocks my pores enough that this can simply rest on top of it without absorbing into my skin too much. That's my hope. And I don't want it to turn clear instantly. I want it to take a while, because that shows me that it's a nice thick layer. The good thing about it is I'm confident that I can wash off any glue that hasn't been there for more than a couple of minutes, just like that. And it's almost completely washed away. In which case I should probably just paint on whatever shape I want and then just wipe away exactly like shaving cream where I want the hairpiece to sit. Now, there are fears that this stuff can turn white when it becomes wet, but I'm going to risk that because I want to see if it can not be shiny, because Walker Ultra Hold is extremely shiny, and I'm hoping that this glue, I think it's called Next Generation 4 or something, or Next Gen, I'm hoping that it won't be shiny. And you can see that I've started gluing down over some dried glue, so that's caused a bit of rubble there. I think I should stop touching the parts that I've already glued and just stop making a mess. So this is my thick water-based glue theory. I've deliberately washed off glue short of the landing zone where the front hairline will actually be, so that I can make sure that that's accurate after I've put this down. But first I'm going to let this dry, and I'll let you know how long it takes for that very thick layer to dry. There's a hair stuck in there. Okay, I'll time this. I'll tell you how long it takes. It's been 6 minutes. It's not completely dry, but I can see that it wants to just peel off easily. It hasn't stuck completely to the scalp. This part wants to just peel right off. It doesn't exhibit the same properties as Walker Tape Ultra Hold. It just comes off. But it does that even if it's thin layers piled on top of each other. If I touch that top surface, I expect that there'll be a hole torn in it. Okay, That's good. It just must be around the rim. But it really doesn't feel very sticky at all. Maybe it's not just the depth. I wonder if the alcohol makes it better. At any rate, I don't want to take any chances. I want this to work, so I want to give it another fairly thick layer right over the top of the first. Let's consider that first layer to be a primer. I'm using this glue because I'm trusting, well not trusting, hoping that it will not be as shiny. I'm hoping for a matte finish, that's why I'm using this water-based glue. And I'm also thinking that maybe this will be very difficult to apply to the front compared to Walker Ultra Hold. So I guess I'm bringing the front layer down to where the hairline will become the front. So I guess I'll come back in 6 minutes. They're two very thick layers. So just from that touching of the glue a moment ago, I could feel that even though it came up there and it started just peeling away, it was going to peel off entirely. When I touched in the middle, I was unable to put a hole in it easily, which was good. At least there's that. But the glue was not very sticky. That feels a lot stickier than that. So that would be the action coming off Walker Ultra Hold, and that was the feeling of Next Gen. So, but I'm glad I'm finally hunting for a new glue, even though this is one of my original earlier glues that I discarded. I'm going back to it just to see if the extra layers will make it work better. Okay, it's been another 8 minutes or so. There's still a few little bits of white around here. You can see that. So that's 2 layers. The knots on this lace are better than nothing, I guess. A little bit bleached. Not perfect, not blonde. They're just smaller than a completely unbleached hairpiece. So now I'm going to spray alcohol onto this glue and quickly check, because I forgot to pull hairs out of the base here. Okay, and now I'm going to put this on. Trying to keep it even. It's certainly not nesting like it would if it was Walker Ultra Hold. It feels like it's just touching the surface. I'm trying to kind of dig it in with this brushing, hard brushing. Now I'm going to check the front. It's already come loose up the top, so not promising. I'm just going to stretch this out towards the front. Feels like the whole thing's going to fall off. In the sunshine I can see a lot of shine coming through. Only in the front part there, not here. And in the sunshine it seems like the knots aren't very well bleached. Okay, so that's reasonable because I didn't glue there. I did glue at the front center. I didn't glue there. The front center only received 1 coat. Which appears to be inadequate. Also, that's had the least time for it to sit. And I'm hoping right now it's bonding. Just remember when this glue was used to bond with the poly, the bond was solid as a rock. It was very solid. And over the last few years I've only been using Walker Ultra Hold with lace. And it's only because of my poly experiment that I'm using this glue for lace now at all. Hoping to develop a thicker layer at the front. Just going to put it on my finger and try to aim with a fairly thick layer. I'll put on 2 layers here. I should probably have avoided putting any on the lace just then. The sunshine's making this glue dry faster than before. The temperature in this room is probably about 10 degrees Celsius. Very cold. Well, not cold, but with the heat of the sun directly here, I'm getting heat, but behind me I can feel the room's fairly cold. So there's no sweat on my body. I put my finger in here and aim to get that excess glue off the front part. With the help of the sun, this is drying a lot faster. Okay, so that's 1 layer. I guess that's 80% dry. I'll wait a few more seconds. Trying to get a bit of a thicker layer, considering that first layer primer, maybe. Wiping off the front excess to where I think the hair piece will land. Once this dries, I'll consider that to be 2 layers. There's an extra bit right there in the hairline. But it certainly dries faster in the sunshine. That second layer's been drying for about 7 minutes. I could easily pull this off the top, but I'm going to just give it a little bit more of a chance by wearing it for a few hours. Just getting the front hairline pulled taut. And I'm going to press in with the brush. I'm seeing extreme shine and extremely dark knots all around the front section there. I'm just glad this is medium density, but I did pull quite a few hairs out when I removed the glue during the cleaning process. And as you can see, it hasn't adhered perfectly, but there's still some adherence at the front there. And I did already apply quite a lot of glue in these places that you can see it lifting. Looks like I'm just going to have to do more there. Just pressing down in the other parts. This time, for accuracy, I'll have to use a cotton tip. This side just dried already, except for that part up next to the natural hairs. The top of my head is getting a bit hot now from the sun. Now the sun's gone away and now it's instantly cool again. The room's not heated by the sun, it's a cold day with bright sunshine just outside that window. It's midday in the middle of winter. So after this layout, I'm going to let it dry for a few seconds and then press it back down. That's becoming a bit of a gathering spot for glue. I'm not really trusting this glue anymore at all. Worked with the poly, but I don't think it's going to work with the lace. There could be some element of that glue mixing with alcohol that makes it stick better. So when I feel that it's completely, the excess is evaporated, and I do have some glue stuck to the hairs, to the bottom of the lace as well. But hopefully it didn't go through. I'll just wait a little bit longer. So when exposed to the sunshine, this glue dries a lot quicker. It turns from white to clear. But in the shade it doesn't dry that quickly. patient. It has that colour, so I'll give the closest one. This looks okay when I add some darkening, wet look product into my hair. If this doesn't work, I don't think I have any other type of glue. I do. I have a bunch of Ghost Bond. I don't see any difference. I've never seen any difference between this and Ghost Bond. Ghost Bond and that, for me, they always seem the same. This is the only stuff that's ever worked for me. Very messy, very shiny. That's the main issue for me. In summertime especially, people can see through the lace, and especially at the front hairline, how shiny it is. And I'm hoping that this water-based glue will lose its shine when it dries. And if that's the case, I'll continue my search for a better water-based adhesive, because this is acrylic, so it's kind of made of plastic or something, whereas that's kind of got a water base to it, I guess. So you'd expect it to be less shiny in bright sunshine and so on. And I am in possession of all those Ghost Bonds that people keep talking about. So I might have to give them another go if this doesn't work out. Unfortunately, those hairs on the left seem to be a bit fucked. The top section seems to be okay. I mean, in terms of placement and in terms of hold. Also in terms of dryness. So that application at the top middle, the first part I did, seems to be more or less perfect. So potentially I should have just lined up where the glue had to go entirely and laid it all down in one go. This is a problem. I do kind of need to fix this before it dries. More alcohol. It's very difficult. This glue lets go very easily. A tiny bit of alcohol spray and it's off. I sincerely hope that I can get these hairs off if it dries to the scalp at all. Maybe touching it 3 or 4 times has destroyed the bond. Maybe the thick layers of glue is against the rules and that's not going to work either. But I think I have to just wait and see and not touch it anymore. I'll come back and let you know. I've just been invited out from an old friend, so I'm going out. I just had a shower and the front hairline is a bit wavy a bit. But I didn't risk, because I've got to just get into a taxi and just go. I didn't risk putting this on the front hairline. I just went with this. I just know it's going to work. I'm going to go out in public now to a night out of drinking or whatever. So, because I don't go out at all. It's a very lucky opportunity for me to go and see this old friend. So I need my hair to actually just stay. Okay, so I just put on something that I know will work. It's going to be nighttime, so in this situation, it's not a problem. It's only in summer and sunshine that this fails. In wintertime and nighttime, it will hold, so I know that. So I've shaved that part off my face. I've realised that that whole disguising the double chin stuff, you can't really disguise it. You've just got to lose weight. in the meantime, if you really want to do something with your face, you know, have the equivalent of eyebrows around the place, you do the sideburns and some kind of little goatee kind of setup. So, it'd be nice to see him again. I was just about to walk out the door and then I realised this is all happening. Peeling back. You remember how much of the water-based glue I put on? About, I don't know, 12 hours ago. Then I had a shower. I think I'm supposed to wait for it to cure for 24 hours, but it's just got it hasn't got the stick. Let me tell you something. You don't have to wait for this to cure at all. You just have to wait for it to set, 15 minutes, put the hair on. That's the end of it. No more concerns about showers and water related problems. So I'm going to go over this glue with the Walk Ultra holders. I can't take the chance of the hair coming off in the wind. We'll be going outside, walking around outdoors and so on. Could be girls there and stuff. There's light ruining. Okay, so I'm going to go and meet my friend now. The Walk Ultra holder, despite my despisement of it, is much better than any other glue. I had to use it. And I had to go back to lace. It's not a perfect hairline, but it gets the job done. So I'm not sure if I'm ever going to go back to poly again. Lace is working for me for all intents and purposes. So I guess I'll just stick with what I've always been doing. My only real option, I think. So I cut my hair shorter because it was getting a bit. I just noticed a whole bunch of glue that had come through from using a different type of glue. By the way, I've got a different lens on now from before I changed it. So I think this is actually the length of hair that probably suits me best. It just conforms. I went out with a friend last night and he had hair that was shorter. It was about my length all around here, but mine was fluffing and I was trying to style it and stuff. Whereas this just kind of falls into the right size. I also find that a little bit with some shorter kind of hair lengths, so this doesn't quite hit the eyebrows in most places. It's just 3/4 of the way from the hairline to the eyebrows. That's the length at the front. So that's pretty short. This is 3/4 of an inch. So it's longer than that. This is 1 inch. So it's longer than an inch. Yeah, it's longer than an inch at the front. I'd say it's 1.5 inches at the front. So it's probably, like, if you're wearing a hairpiece and you don't want to have to style it all the time, and you want a bit more sort of like coverage over any kind of gaps and things, start with the hair length that you've got back here. Try to keep that to be as long as possible. Let's say try and get it to be about 1 inch or 1.5 inches. At the moment, if I can measure this, so it's about 1 inch, a bit over 1 inch. So it's about 1 inch, my natural hair back here, just over. And I've cut the hairpiece from there, and then now coming down to 1.5 inches at the front, which I consider to be a short hairstyle. Probably about as short as you ever want to go with a hairpiece. But I think it actually looks good. And even the imperfections are kind of concealed with this length. And just feeling the sporty look of this hairpiece, I think I feel fitter. Well, I feel fitter today for some reason. I don't know why. I'm hungover actually. But the short hair look makes you look a bit more sporty. Like you're active a little bit, I think. And also, I've cut my sideburns a bit shorter there too. I can actually make myself look even younger if I shave them, like tear them up, but I'm always afraid that if I lose that, then my face kind of looks very pale and blanchy. What do you call it? But for now, I don't know if you can see properly, I haven't brought the light with me, but yeah, that I think this length works best for me. In fact, I should have gone back to school with this hair length instead of the long hair length, but hopefully they won't remember. Also, I'm probably going to have to put some product through it because, as we know, in sunshine, the is there a microphone? Yeah, so this is not the proper microphone. This is all going to be whatever microphone's built into that. So hopefully that's okay. And yeah, I'm wearing lace. So this is French lace. Haven't cleaned up the front hairline properly, but I just feel like, thank God I'm not wearing poly. So I'm not even going to change it. That haircut from that length I had before to this was about 60 seconds to cut my hair shorter. Just divide it at the back, cut that shorter, the second part, cut that shorter, just progressively longer from 1 inch here to 1.5 inches here. It's very easy to do. Just so long as you can get your body to just learn how to do that in the mirror, which will take about, 2 times of doing it and you'll be okay with it. It's just easier for me because I'm cutting my hair pieces every time I use them. I don't get them cut from the factory or whatever, because how would they know how to cut it? And I haven't got a salon available to me, and I don't want to spend that money anyway. If I can get results that are probably as good as a salon, and you've got to do your own hair maintenance all the time when the place might be closed, or you haven't made an appointment, or whatever else. So you really, even if you do have a salon, I think you probably have to know how to manage your own hairpiece. You can't just say, hey, I want to give you another $300 if I can come in right now. Like, no, just do it yourself. So I've never been to a salon. I think you're better off just doing all of it yourself. I don't know what it's like to do all the complicated stuff back here, but there are ways, like that iPad I was looking at while the camera was there, I was able to just keep that in front of my face no matter where I was looking, and I was able to look at the iPad and see the back of my head and so on. Although I wouldn't have had any hands-free, I'd have to wear the iPad or have a virtual reality helmet on, but then how would it cling to my head? I don't know, probably just have an iPad here or something, a mirror arrangement. But thinking about the back of the head and being able to see it clearly and zoom in and stuff, the mirror can't do that, but the camera can. So perhaps a camera setup is probably better if you have to do all the back of your head and everything than a mirror setup. Have a think about that. This has a wireless transmission from this, modern cameras have this, that can be sent to your smart device, iPad, you wouldn't want a phone, too small. And I could probably sit it on the table here and just film the back of my head and see it clearly through there and then position things down. I was trying to figure out an elaborate way to do the mirror setup, but I think really you've got to use a camera setup. Probably better for you. Okay, so that's a short haircut. Thank God I've recovered from using the poly, which I'm not keen to ever try again. Until summertime. When summer comes, I'll probably try it again because I'll be starting to worry about the glue shining through and so on. And yeah, if I look close in this mirror now, I can see there's some. This hair is lighter than the natural hair back there. So I will have to use, say for example, the hairspray. which gives a wet look throughout the entire hairpiece. And it basically locks the hair even if you're in a windy situation. But it darkens the hair overall and gives it a kind of a shine all the way through. Or something that's going to stay wet all day that has not got a matte finish. In the meantime, I'll probably have to order some more medium dark brown. This is just medium brown, so that I can match the hair colour to my natural hair better. And I've grown this back a bit. I kind of like that. Alright, it's another video of me doing the same old shit. You know how it's done. Live long and prosper. I haven't got my own sign off, I'm sorry. Wait a second, is it live long and prosper or live long and prosper? Live long and prosper, Jim. It's not that. All we are saying is give Vulcans a chance. No, it's got to be live long and prosper. No, it's that, isn't it? I should come up with one. The secret. The bald man handshake. I haven't got one. Good luck.